Ion.
Hello and welcome back to Hell I Don't Know. My name is Jordan.
I'm Nickie.
I'm Darrell.
And we're back again for a new episode. First, I want to do a check-in. Nickie, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Today was a really great day. I mean, besides that, like a one little 30-minute hiccup. But then
I was like, oh, a hookup?
Hiccup. No, not hookup. No. Hiccup.
And I was like, that could be a pick-me-up.
We're not talking about that. No, sir.
Wow. I think we should.
I think we should. Moving right along. I didn't have a hookup. I had a hiccup today.
Wow. It sounds like deflection, but okay.
And I've decided to not let a 30-minute hiccup impact my entire day.
I feel like we have to know. I don't know this hiccup, so I would be curious.
We're not talking about my hiccup because it's not related to this. So let's move right along.
Wait, is it bad?
How do you know it's not related to this?
Excuse me.
No, he done made his whole deal about how he has a 30-minute hiccup, and I'm sure that everyone watching this is like, well, what was the hiccup?
It was work related, and I don't want to discuss work related things because that's my job.
Okay.
But I had a 30-minute hiccup at work today, and where it usually,
And you overcame.
Yeah, because I've really been working on not letting a moment affect my entire day.
Amen.
Love that.
Love it.
Darrell, how are you doing?
You know what? I'm doing pretty well. I had a pretty decent weekend. I didn't do too much, and that's the best. I don't really have any. Listen, in 2024, I'm fed. I have a roof over my head. I am loved. So, I try to stay in that energy. You know what I mean? I'm good.
What about you, Jordan?
I love that. I'm good. I had a day off yesterday, so I feel like that just reset everything for me.
Sorry.
So, good.
My ADD took over to ask you a question, but you were literally talking. So I'll ask when you're done talking. Yeah.
No, but yeah, I'm good. What was your question?
You didn't say how you were though.
I'm great.
Okay,
I'm good.
So this is a dumb question, but
yeah.
Did y'all know that President's Day?
What?
This
Darrell?
first of all doesn't sound like a question. It sounds like it's gonna be a
First
statement.
of all, I didn't know that President's Day was like a holiday that people take off of work for. Like I didn't know that it was like that big.
Can I ask you a question?
Am I dumb for saying this?
Can I ask you a question?
I feel like I should edit this one out.
Just a question. Who does the president work for? What part of what is his industry?
Is this a true question?
It's an easy question, honestly.
Wait, who does the president? Well, the president works for the people.
Okay, and in what industry?
Are you talking about like politics?
Works for the federal government, and this was a federal holiday. So why would we not be off for a federal holiday?
Take the L. That was.
I'm just asking though. Like that's common sense.
What I'm saying is that like I think that yesterday was the first time that like and a lot of my friends were actually working, but I didn't know that President's Day was the day that people like took off of work. Like I knew obviously it's a federal holiday. I misspoke, but I didn't know that it was like something that like you get off of work for.
Not everyone's job. Some people were working obviously yesterday, but I also too had an experience where my job would choose between Veterans Day and President's Day. Ooh. So it wouldn't be every day, but you know,
y'all choose.
Yeah, they're like,
no, I
which
think
one?
you should be off of Veterans Day.
Yeah, but they go between the two. So
like this.
So this year I got President's Day.
Oh wow!
But like you should be off of Veterans. Like that's important.
I feel like if you have to choose between the two, it should always be Veterans Day. I think that the majority of people will probably agree with that.
Shout out to the veterans.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm glad everyone's doing great. Last week we talked about rejection and all of those things that come along with it. Today I want to talk about imposter syndrome. I know that we've all experienced it, again, especially being in the creative industry. There's a lot of different scenarios where I've experienced it. And it's a difficult thing to sometimes really grab hold of, but at the same time I think it's something that you can work through. But I feel like I want to like kind of dive into like what your guys' experiences is with it and maybe how you've overcome it or still working through it. I know I'm still working through it. But yeah, let's talk about it.
Darrell, you should lead this conversation
Why?
because I think I want to hear from you first.
Oh. Okay.
Darrell has the most interesting stories.
He does.
That's pressure. But you're not lying. No, I'm kidding. So imposter syndrome. Wow. I'm going to speak about this in a way that is comical, but I also feel very seriously about it. I think that, first of all, I want to say and this is a strong statement, but I personally believe that every single person on the face of the planet experiences imposter syndrome at a certain point of time in their lives. So I just want to start off by saying that so that we can get that out there, and I can say that this is a shared experience that I think we all will find unity in. But for me, I have felt imposter syndrome probably in every facet of my life for the entirety of my life.
Okay.
It's something that I think that we think that we get over at a certain point in time, but then the right trigger brings us back there. And I don't necessarily even know if that's something, if imposter syndrome or a lot of things for that matter are something you can get over. But for me, I don't think I've actually gotten over it at all. I think that I've learned to manage it. I think that anytime I would go, I think I told y'all about my first audition story in the city, and that's something that will probably come up later at another, podcast. But after that terrible audition, like, I had really low self-esteem in general. But then after that, I was like, why am I even in this city? Every single time I would walk into these buildings, and anyone that is auditioned in Pearl Studios, Ripley Greer, Actors Equity, any of those, anybody who's auditioned there knows you walk out of those elevators, and for whatever reason, every insecurity that you have just comes like I'm not kidding. Like, I will be fine walking into the building, but as soon as the doors open and you see the office person working there, and then everybody, that frantic, chaotic energy of everybody auditioning, and then you hear somebody and they belting down the hallway, you're like, damn, it's my voice. Every insecurity that I have about myself bubbles up, and I'm thinking oh wow, how do I look? Was I prepared for this audition? Should I be here? All these people are so much better than me. I think that. And I am still not over that. I will, in most cases, I walk into auditions, and I'm pretty comfortable with auditioning now, but I will walk into a space, and sometimes I do mentally compare myself to everybody in the room. I have to actively say, Darrell, this is a defense mechanism that you have built up to deal with something, and that was how you got through it, but you're not in danger right now. Whenever you developed this mechanism, you felt that you were in danger and you needed to protect yourself, and that's how you protected yourself, but you are not in danger in this moment. And that's kind of how I deal with it's my social anxiety of being around people that I feel are better than me, and going to auditions, and really kind of any situation.
I get that.
Yeah. How do you feel like you've overcome any of it, or how do you feel like you made one of your situations like that better?
Well, I think the first thing is really identifying what is triggering you. And this is a therapy thing. This is not me being so shout out to my therapist.
Love a therapy moment.
I'm not even going to say my therapist's name because I love him, and I'm going to gatekeep. So, wait,
Same.
As you should.
Can they practice in different states? Is that how therapy works? Or you have to? I actually didn't know a doctor can only be licensed in one state.
Yeah,
right?
but you just have to pay. My therapist is in Texas.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, anyway, but yeah, my therapist told me you just have to sit and assess what the actual thing is that's triggering you. So for me, I'm trying to think of a recent example. Any industry event that I go to, because I tend to be socially anxious anyway. I don't know if it's obvious or not, probably not, but in real life, I tend to be a very high anxiety ridden person. And so what I do is I get there and I take a stock of myself. I ground myself to the ground. I take my breaths, however long I need to take it. And then I go, you are fine. You're fine. You are fine. And I'll just say that in my brain as many times as I need to. until I feel comfortable. And I do always feel comfortable. Like I get back to a comfortable place, but it's a process, and I definitely I still have to do that.
I mean, I definitely understand and I get it. For me, same with you. I feel like my whole life. So it started from childhood on. I feel like it still goes on. I feel like it still happens with like me with music for sure. Every time I'm DJing or I'm like, before I go DJ for an event, I always get like tons of anxiety before going on, like to do it, like especially if I like go on after like who I feel like might be a good DJ, or just like, damn, I'm like, should I have like changed my vibe a little bit more, like, because I, especially once you already get the energy of the crowd, you're kind of already like expecting, like, you want to keep that momentum going.
Yeah.
So I think, I always get like that feeling, but it's like, again, I get hired for these things because people want me to bring J vibration to it, and I'm always like, sometimes I go like, what does that even mean? And I'm like, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do me. That's usually how I have to like coach myself in doing it. And then I do it, and then I'll like afterwards, I'll be like, that was terrible, or that was fucking awful. And then people will come to me and be like, that was amazing, and things like that. And I would be like, really, you thought so? And I was like, I messed up this transition right here, blah blah blah. I know no one's hearing those very minor things, but like I feel like it's one of those things that I just go through with every single thing, even with work. Just not feeling like, especially starting out as like being like an admin and things like that. We're always kind of like the people that I feel like are not always the most respected, even though we like do a lot of like the groundwork behind the scenes. I feel like we just don't always get the most respect. So I always felt like when I was in rooms with like higher ups and people like that, I always felt like, okay, do I feel worthy enough to be in here? Like, right. Am I like, do I have anything value to add and things like that? So I think that all like kind of also too kind of transferred over into like confidence and things like that, and like the lack of it or all those things. So it all played its role with me. And but I, like you, I'll too had to just kind of just be like, you're good. Like everything's gonna be like people want you here for a reason. People need you. People are like want your services or whatever it is. So like obviously you're doing something right. Yeah. So but it's still hard because it's like I'm trying to get to a place where I'm like, when people ask me for something or my service or something that I do, to believe and understand why they're asking me, instead of just being like, no, I don't understand this, or like why me. I feel like I even have imposter syndrome with friends sometimes too, but that's a whole other story. But but what about you?
Oh, I struggle with this on a daily basis. Yeah. With every facet of my life. I think for me, it's kind of rooted in like, one, like you guys brought up, like the way we grew up and we were like socialized as kids. And I have always felt myself not be like good as the next person. And so when I'm in a room, I'm like, why am I here? This is not the space for me. This is not the place I need to be in. I mean, even at work, I've been pretty fortunate enough in my career to be in leadership roles and in spaces, and I'm usually one of the youngest ones in there. And when you're hearing people tell, oh, I did this 20 years ago, or I did this 15 years ago, and I'm like, 20 years ago, I was in elementary school. Right. And we're in the same room. So like, what about me makes me deserve it to be here? But it's also, I guess it's a little bit delusion. Cause like you keep putting yourself in these spaces to set yourself up for imposter syndrome. And you taking risk is kind of like, that's kind of what my brain is like saying, am I slightly delusional? To feel like I need to be in these spaces? Like,
well, I say though, delusion a lot of times equals success.
Right. Like
for a lot of people. Like
I can be like Jennifer Lopez, like the way that she's delusional with her singing career. Like, I'm just playing y'all, but I'm
ignoring that.
Well, I feel like though with that, I'll speak to that a little bit. I'll say, and maybe I'll just generalize this a little bit more, but I'll say like there are people I feel like that have talent that is different from others. That not everyone has the same level of talent. But I think though at that same time, some people have that delusion that they are like the best of it or like one of the best of it, and go out there and give it their all, and then look, they're successful. I mean, people are like, going back to Jennifer Lopez, people are checking for it.
Yeah, she going on tour to sing.
I mean, well, first of all, I believe that talent is subjective. So
talent is subjective for sure.
It is,
but also too at the same time that delusion.
Like Darrell, why are we being political here?
I'm not being political. I'm being honest. I think talent is subjective, and what I will say is like, I don't necessarily enjoy her vocal ability. Like the skill set that she has is not a skill set that I enjoy, right? Mm-hmm. But as made evident by her entire music career, there are a lot of people for which that is a skill set that they enjoy. So like, I mean, it's subjective. Like, do I like her vocal stylings? No, but then also like, I don't love Taylor Swift's vocal stylings either, and she's very, very, very popular. So, you know, I wouldn't say that like it's delusion. I do think that I actually think that delusion is an essential part of the growth of any society and the growth of any successful human being. The reason I say that is because when you think about it, anybody that's ever done something that no one's ever done was a little delusional. And if no one ever did that, if no one had that delusion to say, I could do this, we wouldn't be sitting here. Technology wouldn't be invented.
I agree.
I agree. So it's actually essential that we drive, and maybe I'm reaching a bit, but I think it's relevant, right? Like, I think that as long as we can keep in our brain the thing that isn't there yet, but we can do it. I think that even if it seems delusional, I think it's helpful.
Can we agree that Jennifer Lopez is the Latina version of Taylor Swift?
No. What? No.
In what way? Because Taylor Swift writes all of her own music.
And Jennifer Lopez is a very skilled and highly trained dancer.
So are you saying that J-Lo is better than Taylor?
No.
Performance-wise.
Performance is subjective.
Okay. Are you going off preference?
Yeah. Are you going to a J-Lo concert or a Taylor Swift concert?
He is determined for us to besmirch the Jennifer Lopez, and I don't understand the vendetta that you have against Jennifer Lopez.
I don't have vendetta. J-Lo is a good actress, but she's not necessarily a singer. But that's what I'm saying. Like, think about it from Taylor Swift versus Jennifer Lopez. Which concert you going to?
I'm not.
I'm not. You got to pick one, Taylor or Jennifer.
I'll give my tickets away.
No, Darrell, you have to go in the audience and sit.
I think if I had to choose, if I had to choose,
with a gun to my head.
Honestly, I'll probably pick Taylor Swift. Actually, I would. I'm gonna tell you why. Because in reality, I actually know more Taylor Swift music than Jennifer Lopez. And one of her albums, Folklore, I've told you, Nickie, I actually thought that album was like fantastic. Like, I think it's from a songwriting perspective, it's brilliant. It's, from what I heard, her best work. Now, she still cannot sing well, in my opinion, but her storytelling sold me. So I think it'd be Taylor Swift.
I'm going to go with, you know what? Because I grew up with her as a kid, I'm going to go with Jennifer Lopez because I would go for the nostalgia of hopefully the older songs that she would sing.
Mm-hmm. I think I would go Jennifer too because at least I can watch decent dancing.
That's true.
All right. So
back to the original point. Do we think delusion is actually like a way to escape imposter syndrome?
I think it can be. If that's what works for you, then you know what? I'm gonna be contrary here because I don't necessarily think we need to escape imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome reminds us a little bit of how we see ourselves and how we see ourselves in regards to other people. So I think having that little bit of healthy imposter syndrome. Do you think it humbles us a bit? It humbles us a bit. I think like having imposter syndrome, a manageable amount, I think does humble us, and it better prepares us to be like decent conversational people who can connect to others versus just living in our brains. But I say that because I think that instead of escaping imposter syndrome with delusion, I think that maybe we add that as a tool to our skill set, our mental skill set, to help us when we are in these situations. Like I think that thinking of it as a tool, rather than something that is replacing something else, because I don't really think it works like that. I'm also not a psychoanalyst. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I'm nothing but an old man sitting in Washington Heights. So
got it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely have used the whole fake it till you make it thing for sure. And I'll say that in like many of instances where I've just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but we're going to figure it out. Amen. And we're going to do it, and it's going to be what it is. And a lot of times, like, I learned a lot through that experience, even though it was like nerve-wracking and everything. But I feel like I was able, that also too helped push some confidence when I was already, it kind of like counteracted it a little bit.
Yeah, I think you need a little bit of delusion to help you overcome imposter syndrome. I know, at least for me, because if not, the thoughts that happen in this, like, because I'm an overthinker. And when I say overthinker, baby, I can make an entire story in my head of things that are not true just by me overthinking. So I think delusion allows me to escape that.
What do you mean? So we want examples, screenshots, text, receipts
of what exactly? What do you want to
just like examples of your delusions? Like what do you mean by delusion? Like how are you delusional?
How am I delusional?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sometimes I've told myself. So my current job, I have to kind of like, I'm overseeing. I hate that word. Sorry. I'm the director of. I hate overseeing. Overseeing just reminds me of slavery. So please forgive me.
That's fair.
I agree.
But like, I am the director of curricula. So my company sells curriculum, and I tell myself sometimes when we're like writing, they couldn't get anybody else to do this. They hired me. They needed me to do this, just to get over the thoughts of, you young, these people's work. This is $1 million company, and now they done put you over their curricula that's been making the money. So I tell myself they couldn't get anybody else but you to do this, to actually do the job.
But that's a factual statement though. That's why you were hired.
I don't know if that's always true, because sometimes places hire people because they're tired of looking for folks.
Fair, but also what I'm saying is that also could be a factual statement.
Right.
True. Yeah.
So like why does it have to be delusional?
Another example, I can put on a play and it'd be great without a playwriting class.
I think that is not necessarily delusional. It's just okay. Work.
we all a working class. Yeah.
Oh, that's anxiety ridden.
Yeah. I'm like, first of all,
triggering actually.
7:00. Why am I Outlook?
Here we are.
Okay, I'm not about to do that. Not during Black History Month.
Why are you yelling
Don't look at
in these people's ears?
I'm sorry, but yeah, no, I feel like the point that I'm making is that, like, I hope that some of our delusions end up being not delusions. I hope that these things end up being things that we can manifest for our lives.
You know, though, I've funny enough though that I feel like delusion has a lot of like negative connotation towards it. When I kind of look at it as kind of like, for me, it's been kind of like more of a positive thing, because like I'll say when I'm in my delusional state, I will just again always using music for mine, but when like making like some of my like mixes or mashups before, I would put stuff that would not make any fucking sense that goes together. But I'm like, I said, I'm gonna do it. Like, no one else is going to do this, or no one else is. I'll even like look through like SoundCloud or like look through mashups to see if anyone's like mixed these two things together, and I'm like, oh no, so I'm going to do it. And then a lot of those times that's the one that I'm like, I don't know if people are going to like that one, but I like it. But it's kind of weird, but I don't know. And I feel like always the weird shit that I do, that's what people like, and the stuff that I like overthink and think like, okay, this is what people are going to like, so let me give them this. That's the one that gets like the least response. So I feel like, again, when I'm more delusional, it's when it's better for me.
I get that. Do we feel like sometimes a delusion plays a factor into people's expectations of us?
Say that again.
Do you know that sometimes our delusions play a factor into people's expectations of us?
You know what? Fuck you.
I said, wow, that was like, I need you to take a second. Breathe.
A lot of words.
Bring that back again. Wow.
Okay. Do we feel that people's expectations of us play into our delusion?
I feel like, I mean, again, that kind of what I was just saying. I feel like that's how it played into it for me.
That's why I'm asking you. What about you, Darrell?
If I'm understanding the question properly, I actually think it would be the reverse, right? Like people's expectation. Well, actually, I scratched that. It don't have to be the reverse, but whatever people think of you, I think it could go either way. Like if people think really positively of you and people think you're set to a high standard, then you will naturally set yourself to that high standard because we are what the world perceives us as a lot of the time. We inform what the world perceives us as informs us of who we are sometimes. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm struggling with this word delusion. I'm struggling with it.
Okay, what does delusion mean to you?
I'm struggling with it because I think that I'm struggling with it because delusions. I'm gonna look this up. I'm gonna just so I can get because delusions means that you are not grounded in reality.
Mm-hmm.
That you are thinking something that is almost impossible, like something that like. Ooh, why was I searching that on Google?
Let's not.
Let's not.
Figure out. What that is.
I don't even want to.
Actually, I'm curious.
No,
Okay,
no,
delusion-
no, no.
We're not talking about that.
Okay.
We're gonna press end.
We'll
for
save that for
conversation.
after the show.
All right, delusional is an adjective which we all knew. Characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgment about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible. Is that a word? Incontrovertible. I have a master's degree.
Wow.
Wait, despite Jordan, what is this word? Say it.
Which one? Oh, this?
Yeah.
Dude, nobody.
Incontrovertible.
Let me see.
Incontrovertible.
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 Yeah.
I feel like you got that because I said it a couple of
Well,
times.
it's INTRO, intro, CON, ver, VER.
All right.
Okay.
All right. But yes, basically their delusional belief in the yeah. It's also this is saying there's a symptom of a mental condition. So maybe we shouldn't be. I might be unlearned. So I'm just saying like I ain't know delusional was necessarily like a mental condition. So if we're speaking about it in a way that's inappropriate, then maybe we shouldn't.
This may be a controversial take, but hear me out.
I'm sure it will be.
Wait a minute. Do we think Beyonce's delusional at times?
Yeah.
I think she is. I think that's how she keeps pushing herself.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that at all.
Why not, Darrell?
I think some people just internally have a drive and they want things and they're motivated to do those things. I don't think that makes them delusional. And I also think that Beyonce is one of the most accomplished people in the world. So
I would agree with that.
To her, nothing would be out of reach. Like I wouldn't imagine being Beyonce being like, I can't do this. Like,
but hasn't she said that about like acting?
I haven't heard that. So maybe she said that to you in your dreams. But I
feel like I remember her saying that like around like Pink Panther, that whole era.
You were like 12.
Well, sometimes, Darrell, people go back and watch interviews.
Yeah, because let's say I was looking for that quote. Will Smith said, "There's a certain delusional quality that all successful people have to have. You have to believe that something different than what has happened for the last 50 million years of history. You have to believe that something different can happen, and that's like a level of delusion." So, again, going back to Beyonce, she's a lot of things that she does. It's like challenging things. Like, for example, right now going on with the country thing, that had to be some level of delusion to be like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my next act is going to be country. And
I think she did a piece of delusion, and I respect it.
yeah.
But you don't think she had one, Darrell? You think she just?
Are you dancing to Texas? Hold on.
I don't know.
I am. Am I right? I guess, I mean, I don't want to beat the dead horse on this one, but I just think that, like, I think that maybe I'm just thinking of the word delusion differently than, because, like, I mean, I just think that personally, it's like for Beyonce to step out and do a country album, it actually wasn't delusional because she's one of the world's biggest superstars and she can literally do whatever she wants to do musically, so there's no real risk in her doing it.
Do we expect it? But do we expect it to be good though? Because I have a follow up to
I
this.
expect that whatever she wants to produce will be good enough for her, and that's what she's trying to do. Because again, subjective. Plenty of people don't feel like Beyonce's music is good in general. Plenty of people feel like it's the best thing since sliced bread.
People feel like she can't sing. People feel like she can't dance.
I agree with that. But so, question. So if Taylor Swift was to say she's doing a hip hop album, would that be a form of delusion?
It would be a form of cultural appropriation, but I don't think it would be delusion. Why is that delusional? It's not outside reality.
So wait. Why is Taylor Swift doing? But do you consider Jack Harlow a cultural appropriator? And Eminem?
No.
But why would Taylor be cultural appropriation?
I'm not going to speak on Jack Harlow because I don't know much about him and his personal life. So, like, that's something that I'm going to push it in.
He's from Kentucky.
Well, I think cultural appropriation is not necessarily just about race. It's just about culture. It is about you are appropriating one's culture if you are not a part of that culture, and you are assigning yourself physical attributes or whatever, or even like whatever of that culture. So that being said, Eminem is not appropriating any culture when he is doing what is natural to him in the environment that he grew up in. That is quite literally his culture, in a way that if you did it, you would be appropriating a culture that doesn't belong to you. You know what I mean? Like that. I personally believe that. So I don't think
this is interesting.
I feel like I should be offended.
Wait, no. Why would you be offended? No, it's not.
So if I was a rapper, I'd be culture appropriating.
If you were the type of rapper that Eminem is, if you were rapping about things that are not your actual experience, then you
okay, I get that. But I just said Taylor Swift doing a hip hop album. I didn't say what.
No, I know, but I'm saying it would be cultural appropriation because that's not her culture.
The rapping.
Yeah, I could say that. That's not her culture. Rap is not a part of her. Rap, I don't care what anyone says, rap is a cultural thing. It's not just a genre of music because it was born out of oppression. It was born with, no, it's not just a genre of music. It is a cultural thing, right?
So go back to Jack Harlow.
I said I can't do Jack Harlow because I don't know enough about him.
Okay. Macklemore.
Macklemore? I mean, absolutely, that was cultural appropriation. I think he was, but Macklemore also, from my understanding, he has acknowledged that, and he has made an effort to do positive with his platform since he is now elevated to this position. So I think that you can appropriate culture, and as long as you acknowledge that and you become a cultural appreciator, which is what I think Macklemore ended up being, I'm okay with that.
So what about Miley doing her bangers?
Yeah. Honestly, it was cultural appropriation. It also was some banging music. So like, I quite enjoyed that album.
So it's okay for Miley to do it, but
I didn't say it was okay. I said I enjoyed the music. I didn't say it was okay. There's one specific song by Iggy Azalea that I quite like, and she's like queen of the cultural appropriators.
I was gonna say, did Iggy ever apologize for her partaking in it?
I doubt it.
She wrote, I don't know.
But
got a house that's too big.
I honestly think if you know, America is so funny.
Said they gotta move over in life, but they still want to be a good daddy. I was like, bitch, you're from Australia. Iggy.
Remember that video where she was like doing that live show and she was doing like a freestyle or something?
Wait, she was rapping lyrics?
Yeah. Well, yeah, she was just saying.
It was literally
words.
Just
like a whole bunch of
like she was literally like,
I think she even said Rudolph or Vixen. She was just, it was
unhinged.
So many people. Yeah,
completely unhinged.
But you know what's funny though? I think if Taylor Swift did make a hip hop album, it'll win album of the year.
Oh, it would.
Absolutely.
They'd be like innovative,
like the
captivating,
best thing. And I'm like, this white woman
pays homage to America's forgotten genres.
She just got something else. I just saw Taylor Swift is expected to break the all-time record for the most cumulative weeks in the top 10 in Billboard 200 history this week. She would surpass the Beatles.
First of all, is this somebody's job to think about these records that don't exist yet?
I think it is.
Because they'd be like, Taylor Swift is the first woman
like Taylor
to
Swift
eat
is
a
always the
Lunchable
person.
while walking into a record exec's office and making sure that her masters are safe. Like these records,
I feel like they know her every move, her every
just to see
everything.
if she broke a record.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I am tired of this woman.
Oh, okay.
I am, no shade to Taylor, but like the fact that Taylor has more album of the year wins than Michael, Whitney, Aretha, Prince, Beyonce, and the list just goes on. She's everywhere.
The thing that I've been seeing in regards to that, and I'm not saying I agree, disagree, anything right now, but I'll say the thing that I've been seeing in regards to her winning is that, again, even similar with Beck, she writes all of her own music.
Yeah, but that's not.
So did Prince.
And that's their defense in it, because she is. So again, when people were when they were having the discussion about Beyonce and Taylor Swift, they were like, well, Taylor Swift did the writing of this and wrote her whole album, where Beyonce had people to make that happen.
If that's the case, why hasn't Jasmine Sullivan won Album of the Year?
Again,
I mean,
I didn't say I just said these are the arguments that happen when it comes to that situation.
What is that? What did the Candace say? The line is always moving.
Like,
no, I think. Honestly, I think we all know the answer to this. Like, I think we
definitely know the answer.
How this works.
Sure.
I think everyone listening to this probably knows how this works.
We know the answer. We know the real deal.
The real deal. I do genuinely think that, like, they are going to continue to play in our faces. I don't even think they're doing it intentionally. That's the crazy part. I think that they are wholly doing this because this is what they feel and what they think, and they are not thinking that they need to listen more to how culture is being shaped now. And honestly, we really need to stop giving it so much power. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The fact that Taylor Swift has more, and I just posted this on Instagram too, so this is for me as well. But like, the fact that Taylor Swift has more fucking Grammy of the Year, album of the years than all these people sucks, because obviously her music is just not like that's. They're just two different levels of iconic status, and she will be an icon in a few years, and good for her. But
by what metric?
She'll be an icon in a few years, good for her. But I think that it doesn't matter, because all of these people have cemented their status and their impact on society and culture and music, and we revere them and we award them and we give them their accolades and we give them their flowers. So I don't think that it's something that we're never going to see them change. Like the Grammys or the Academy of Recorded Music, they're not going to change because we want them to, because they are, and they honestly, flip side of the coin, they can actually just really feel this way. They could actually feel like they weren't impacted by Beyonce's Renaissance album, but Harry Styles' music, what's it called? Sushi Shop?
Harry's House? Not Sushi Shop.
Maybe that
what?
did.
They didn't even listen to Renaissance, though. They didn't listen to it.
Well, that's a whole nother.
But also, question, y'all, like for real, Taylor Swift is now being compared to Michael Jackson. They're comparing this woman to Michael Jackson.
They're comparing her regards to the stats, though, not
the status, the icon.
Well, because that, but if you, here's the thing, we can feel how we feel about it, but obviously there are plenty of people that feel differently. Obviously, there are people
they're wrong.
That they're not wrong. It's just their opinion.
Well, that's subjective, because that we can't say they're wrong. We have this opinion about it because we like certain music or whatever it is, and I like a lot of music and things like that. So it's like I'm very open to music. It's the thing of just like, I think we know that there are people that love this woman and think that this woman has done a lot of things, for the music industry. And again,
she has, though.
and again, with that point too, if she is getting compared to him, it's because of the metrics, the things that I just read, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm ignorant. Tell me how Taylor Swift has shifted the music industry.
Shifted. I don't. I can't speak too much about her in the sense, because I don't follow her career like that to know.
Like, when I'm thinking about people like Michael Jackson and Beyonce, they have shifted.
Right, and I know all the ways that they've shifted it. Again, I don't know specifically what Taylor Swift has done.
Well, I will say Taylor Swift has kind of like led the charge in the modern era of artists and like their ownership of their own music, and they're kind of reformulating the way that these contracts.
Kelly Clarkson gave her that idea.
Okay, but Taylor Swift implemented. You asked how she shifted the industry. This is a way that Taylor Swift has shifted the industry.
But Beyonce owned her masters before Taylor started re-recording everything.
I understand, but this is something that is being attributed to Taylor Swift, and I think justifiably so. It was her situation, and I also think even beyond that, like, the accolades that these people receive are because people think that they are worthy of it, right? Someone thinks that they're worthy of it. A committee of people, a society of people that enjoy their music thinks that they're worthy of it. A society of people feel that Taylor Swift is worthy of this. And honestly, if they feel that way and enough of them do, then she is in their eyes. Like, I'm maybe not in my eyes, maybe not in your eyes, but like she is in their eyes. And when they hold the majority and when they are the litmus test for which everything is judged, that will always be the case.
But that's my question, though. Are they is she the litmus test?
I think so.
If
Yes.
she is, then why aren't all these other artists surpassing her?
Like who?
Why isn't like the Jasmines, the SZAs, like these people that can literally do?
SOS has the numbers like that.
But she didn't get the acclaim that Taylor got from Midnights.
Well,
Like if Taylor Swift is like, if she's the bar, she's the one that they're comparing to Michael Jackson. That's a pretty easy reach for a lot of people, because I watched the Eras movie.
Well, we know who doesn't suffer from imposter syndrome. Taylor Swift.
No, she does not.
Actually, she might. SZA does. SZA absolutely does.
She
She's
does.
written multiple songs about it.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that.
That's
I don't even know. Taylor Swift might absolutely have imposter syndrome.
It doesn't.
You
seem
know what?
that
She's
way.
probably put it in one of her songs before. I think one of
That
her
song.
songs
Yeah, that song. You're the reason for the tears. Also my guitar. The only la 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 la.
I feel like she's so far away from that artist.
She is, and that's honestly also kind of iconic how she's been able to like shift genres.
I blame Kanye
I also want to make it
For her
known
shift
that
of
I'm
genre-
not.
her shift of genres.
for her being who she is.
You got this from
Oh.
a meme that you saw the other
No,
day.
I have not. I have said this to Jordan before this meme.
Yeah,
For what it's worth, I do actually agree with that. I do think that
he helped.
like,
He helped her career.
He did.
tremendously.
I've said this to Jordan so many times. It's his fault.
I wouldn't say fault, but I'm saying that the impact that Kanye West and that controversy and him elevating her to the status of Beyonce, like that, he elevated her to the status of Beyonce. He is. I don't want to say responsible because I'm not going to take all of her work away from her and her actual talent and her actual songwriting. Because one thing about it, she can write a song.
I'll give you that.
She's one of the most prolific songwriters of this generation. So I'm not taking anything away from her, but I can definitely say that I think that Kanye definitely helped elevate her.
Right. Taylor Swift can write a song. I'll give that to her. I'll even put her. She is on the in my eyes. I'm giving her something. I don't do this a lot. I'll say she's like on the for those people. She's like the baby face, the Ellie Reeds in our eyes for them.
Mm-hmm.
But Kanye is definitely responsible for making her as big of an artist as she actually is.
100%.
Because what other person you know can not sing and cannot dance and cannot perform and sell out stadiums?
A lot, actually.
I was going to say that's been happening
And
for
those
quite some time.
people also are delusional.
Which is perfect because I feel like that definitely rounds us out with this guy. Unless you have something else to add about it, Taylor Swift.
I'm just so angry. Like I wish.
I need you to get over that.
Like I mean, I wish
Because it's not going to change.
It's not going to change. But like, maybe we should just give up imposter syndrome and just say we're great.
I say that all the time.
That's actually
I'm great.
it's actually what I wanted us to get to at
Yeah.
the end
Okay.
of this. I want us to just be like, you know what? We're fucking amazing. We're great.
Well, that's the thing.
Because we are.
We are. Like that's like having said already that I do suffer from imposter syndrome. I also know how amazing I am. I also know that I am great, and I know that imposter syndrome is not who I am. It's something that I am feeling.
What is going on in Washington Heights?
We in Washington
Like, wow,
Heights.
that was.
You liable to hear
I
anything.
felt that like in my
Listen,
In my body.
feet, everything.
Listen, but no, I do think that. I think like straight up, we're amazing. We are what we say we are. And I think if you say you're amazing, you're amazing.
I agree. I mean, even
Claim
this situation, I have imposter syndrome. Whether we're getting over it.
I was gonna say I have imposter syndrome with this, literally with this exact same thing. I was like, no one wants to hear me talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because one, because like, well, of course, but one for me, it was just like. For me,
Drag me.
Of course, Darrell doesn't have imposter.
but for me, it was just because I hate my voice, so I was like, this is going to be interesting. But then I was like, again, delusion, because I was like, I'm going to do it. So
I mean, same. I hate my voice, and I also have controversial thoughts. So I was like, I shouldn't be doing this, but you know what? We're here.
well, you are definitely exposing them, and here we are.
People don't cancel me. These are
listen.
my opinions.
Oh, the Swifties are coming for you.
As they
I would
should.
have a conversation with them all, please.
I mean,
Please
the Swifties
contact
are
me,
not the
Swifties.
most intimidating group of like the Barbs.
Listen,
I ain't messing with
Nicki
none of you
Minaj's
crazy motherfuckers.
Nicki Minaj's
No,
fans
'cause
don't call me.
Whatever you said about her
Because they're
is
gonna
true.
do.
I'm not.
The Barb's gonna do a drive-by.
Yeah, I'm not messing with the Barbs.
Them hoes
Nope.
was threatening to dig
Okay,
up
so you
somebody's
call-
mama.
I saw
you call
that.
them hoes, so
I'm
you
sorry.
they're already about to come for you.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Whatever. Anyway,
Nicholas-
anyway, but like you threatened to dig up somebody's mom.
yeah,
Like
that's insane.
First of all, that's also
That
a
is
felony
insane.
That's a whole other level of.
Yeah, that's so.
for somebody
yeah,
you've never met.
Is that delusion?
That's insanity.
Okay.
That's
That's
straight
insanity.
jacket.
Yeah, that's. I'm not trying. Don't come after me, but that is delusional. Like,
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, Barbs. Look at me right here. You're crazy
Ooh,
because you're not digging up somebody's mom.
Wow.
I agree with that.
Like
The views expressed by the individual is not
own
indicative
it.
or reflective of the collective.
I own it, and
Shots
someone
were
should
fired.
tell them this. This lady is
it
on
looks like-
Instagram
Oh.
Live and Twitter, just talk out the side of her neck.
There's no need to tell them that because it's not going to matter. Yeah, because no matter what that woman does, they move how she moves.
Ooh, and that's what they talk about in the last days. People will worship idols.
I'm just trying to figure out how did they get there to put Nicki on this pedestal to where you're willing to like commit a felony for this person. Like that's crazy.
I mean, that's
it's like-
fans.
it's
I mean,
kinda like-
the fans are. I mean, BI people are going to do that too.
We should like have an actual like.
Oops, did I? Oops, I'm not coming for the BI. I'm just saying.
I hear what you're saying, and I am Beehive, so
Are you digging up a body for Beyonce?
I'm absolutely not digging up a body for
I don't-
anyone.
I don't. First
No,
of all,
I don't think. But I think the Beehive doesn't. It has a. They're a different level of.
they're more mature than the Barbs.
because they're going to come with like stats, facts, different things like that.
I do think it's interesting, like, and I think that's something we should actually like dive into, like, on another episode. Like, we should like the psychology behind fandom, and the psychology behind fandom is very similar and akin to cults. Like, it
Yes.
really is. Like, this is a person you do not know, you have very little personal interaction with, or any if at all, and you have this innate sense of protection, loyalty, devotion to this person and or entity that doesn't even know you exist, for the lack of a better word. Like, it's cultish. It can be cultish,
very
and I think we
cultish.
should discuss that.
Oh,
on
that would be
future
the
one.
next one.
We can do that next.
Yeah.
we can do it next.
Let's do it.
Yeah, because I got thoughts.
Oh, I have
Okay.
plenty of thoughts on fandom, and I also have a confession about that for me. But we'll talk about that in the
Are you a
next
part
episode.
of? Are you a part of a cult?
No,
Oh, okay, that's what
maybe
that's what I heard.
Maybe in the past. What you heard?
That you were a part of a cult. That's
Who'd you hear that from?
you just said that.
Oh, well, no, I didn't say that I was part of a cult. I just said that there was a part in my life that played some element of that. I
Got
didn't
it.
say that I was. But again, next episode.
Next episode.
Drag him. Nicki would just be. No, he
ready.
would just coming for
ready.
you.
Just ready.
I don't be coming for you. What are y'all talking about?
Nicki,
Always ready.
let's end this.
But we supposed to be
podcast.
supporting each other.
I love both of y'all
This is
dearly.
black love.
I love both of y'all dearly. If y'all needed anything, I will have your back immediately.
I know you
Okay.
feel that you mean that.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
And on that note, this has been another episode of Hell I Don't Know, because I don't know where we just went off on at the end of that, but this is the whole point, you know? So I hope you guys enjoyed. Next week, let's dive into fans.
Sure. Bye, guys.
Bye.